Hey guys, welcome to The Bows. Today I'll be talking about the result of this weekend's celebrity boxing fight between Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. So Tyron Woodley actually lost via split decision. I'm sure most people know that by now and have seen the fight. I had it in favor of Jake 5-3, and that's kind of being generous to Woodley. I feel like most people had it 6-2 for Jake, but it was by no means a robbery or anything. I feel like most people thought Jake won. It wouldn't have been a complete robbery if they gave it to Woodley, but the right guy won the fight. Woodley just didn't throw enough, which has kind of been his MO for the past couple of years. So I'm not surprised that he didn't win. He just didn't throw any combinations. He was looking for that one big punch to put him out the whole time. Even when he had him hurt, he kind of gave him a chance to recover because he was just looking for that right hand again, looking for that big overhand right hand. And it didn't work out. He didn't put any combinations together the whole fight. What I got from this is that Jake Paul is the better boxer fundamentally, but by no means is he a prodigy, at least from what we've seen so far. He'd probably beat Tommy Fury, or at least it'd be a very competitive fight, but actually I think it'd beat Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury didn't look very good in my opinion, and that could be a possible next move for Jake. Woodley may be able to get the rematch if he gets that tattoo of I Love Jake Paul on his leg, but it may not matter anyway. Jake may be looking on to the next thing. And I think actually the odds would be even worse for Woodley the second time around. Jake wouldn't be scared or timid of Woodley's power or as reserved as he was in this fight, because he actually was more reserved in his other previous fights, even though we only saw a couple minutes with those other fights of Jake actually fighting. But in the first couple minutes of the Woodley fight, he was much more reserved than how he came out against Askren and against Ensid Gibb, or whatever his name is. I believe that's it, right? Ensid Gibb. And against Nate Robinson, he was not timid either. So Jake was definitely concerned about the power of Woodley and understood he had a real athlete in front of him this time. But regardless, he outboxed Woodley. There's also more to take away from Woodley's performance in terms of studying film when Jake watches this fight back, if he wants to fight Woodley again. And there's more to take away from it and see where the openings are, because there were more openings for him. And Tyron is going to realize that he's not the better boxer, and I don't know how much better he can get and close that gap enough with his age and stuff like that, and his level of, not focus, but his level of, not timidity either, because I wouldn't say he's timid, he's almost just too reserved with his punching, and I don't think that's going to change with becoming a better boxer. I think he's still going to do the same thing. Maybe his footwork gets a little better, maybe his punches look a little bit more technically sound, but he still probably won't throw combinations. Overall, I'd say Woodley was the aggressor, and he landed the bigger punches. He landed that big right hand that hurt Jake when he was pushed up against the ropes and should have been ruled a knockdown probably, because the ropes were keeping him supported from falling. And he hit him with a big uppercut, and I believe there was also a big left hook that Woodley threw. But besides that, that's all I can really think of significant punches that landed on Jake Paul that Woodley delivered. Jake landed some big punches too, but they weren't to the same effect as Woodley's, but he landed a lot more often. He landed quite a few nice check left hooks. He was landing the jab at times, and he hit him with the overhand right constantly. It's just that Woodley's got a better chin and tougher than other guys Jake's fought so far, and Jake was backing up most of the fight too, so it's going to take away the power as opposed to if he was coming forward the whole time. But that was probably part of his game plan too, to kind of draw Woodley in and make him chase, because Woodley most of the time would fight off his back foot. So now you're making him come forward and fight on his front foot, which is completely opposite of what Woodley usually does in his fights. A lot of people, including pro MMA fighters, thought it was embarrassing that Woodley lost to Jake Paul, but I'm not all that surprised. I kind of predicted that, if you watch my last video, that Jake Paul would win a decision, or I said I could visualize it happening, and that's what happened. Woodley got outboxed just because he does MMA and did that for years and years at the highest level, and fought elite competition and is a 5-time UFC champion and future Hall of Famer, doesn't mean you can necessarily go in a boxing ring and fight. If they fought without gloves even, and did bare knuckle or MMA gloves and just did boxing rules, it would change everything. It would be different. It's just a different sport. And Woodley's never been known, again, for his pure boxing technique. He's always been known to have power and to be an overall good striker, but in terms of just boxing technique alone, he's no Petr Yan or some other great boxer like that. Well, Petr Yan is an exception in my opinion. He's a very, very good boxer, but he's no Petr Yan or Rob Font, or Cody Garbrandt's a very good boxer too. He's no Jorge Masvidal with the speed and the boxing technique. At the end of the day, Woodley actually has much less boxing experience than Jake Paul. If you look at solely boxing as a sport, Woodley's been practicing for 6 months since the fight was announced? Maybe less. I'm not even sure when the fight was announced, but less than a year of boxing experience, just focusing on pure boxing. And Jake's been doing it for 3 years with all the money and resources he has to get all great trainers and nutrition and just focus solely on boxing, which he has been doing from what it seems like. So it's not that unreasonable to think that Jake Paul is just a better boxer. All right, guys, that's all I got today. Leave a like, subscribe, and let me know what you thought about this fight. Did anybody think Woodley won? Because I didn't. Where do you think Jake Paul goes from here? Do you want to see the rematch? Let me know. All right, till next time, peace.